Hello everyone. Recapping what just happened, 38-31 loss for our Minnesota Vikings. Now, Goff had himself quite the day. He was 26 of 33 for 465 yards, a 14.1 average yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, no picks. He was only sacked once, and he had a perfect passer rating, 158.3. Now, obviously, if we are to win games, that cannot happen anymore. And Todd Gurley, 17 carries, 83 yards, 4.9 average, no touch on the ground anyway. Brandon Cooks carried it once for 10 yards, and Jared Goff had 2 carries for 7 yards, but really only had 1 carry as kneel downs are counted. And no one could stop Cooper Kupp all day long. He had 9 catches on 11 targets, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Brandon Cooks, 7 of 8 targets, 116 yards, and also a touch. Robert Woods caught all 5 of his targets for 101 yards and a touch. And then Todd Gurley was targeted 6 times. He got 4 of those balls for 73 yards and also a touchdown. And Gerald Everett caught his only target for 13 yards. And then everything else is unnotable as they didn't even catch their lone targets. And that involves the Johnny Hekker pass on the fake punt. But they were 1 of 6 on third down, so 17%. They were 50% in the red zone, going 2 for 4. Didn't turn the ball over, and they held the ball for 27 minutes and 46 seconds. Now, Minnesota side. Kirk Cousins was 36 of 50 for 422 yards and 8.4 average yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 4 times, again with the sacks and the pressure. But he had a rating of 117.3. Now, carrying the ball, this is where I'm getting my biggest gripe with this team this year so far. Cousins was the leading rusher with 28 yards on 4 carries. Now, if we take out his carries, we have 13 carries total because we only got 17. Cook carried it 10 times for 20 yards. Not going to get that done. Thomas 1 time for 4 yards, and Murray carried it 2 times for 2 yards. And obviously, if you add it up, we carried the ball 13 times for 26 yards. Not good. Not good at all. And receiving, Thielen, 8 of 12 targets for 135 yards and a 45-yard touchdown in that. Diggs caught 11 of his 15 for 123 yards. Rudolph, 5 of 6 for 57. Treadwell, 4 of 7 for 47 yards. Aldrick Robinson caught both of his targets for 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns for him. Not bad for 33 yards. And Murray caught both of his for 16 yards. C.J. Ham caught both of his for 7. Morgan, 1 for 3. He caught his lone target for 3 yards, and Boone caught his lone target for 1 yard. Now, Minnesota was 50% on third down, going 8 for 16, 50% in the red zone, going 2 for 4. Obviously, the 1 turnover at the end there, and they held the ball for 32 minutes and 14 seconds. Now, I think Kirk actually played extremely well in this game. I think he kind of kept us in this single-handedly. Well, him and Diggs and Thielen, pretty much. Like, those 3, without those 3, this game is a runaway. And I think this is why we pay Kirk Cousins, is to have these kind of numbers. And I need to address this little thing here, which is the O-line still does suck. We know that. We knew that coming into this game. We didn't think it would all be fixed. But I do think we probably need to put Mike Remmers back at right tackle, because I think we're all okay with Mike Remmers at right guard if you have a plan at right tackle. Coming into this year, I think that's kind of what we all thought. But they clearly didn't have a plan at right tackle, which gives us a problem here. So if you don't trust Brian O'Neill, Rashad Hill clearly isn't an answer there at right tackle outside of being a swing tackle. If someone needs to come out for an injury or something, and he can maybe play a game or 2 at max, but to have him going into the game as your starting right tackle, bad idea. Very bad idea, and we're seeing the issues with that plan. So now that gives you a few options if you put Mike Remmers back at right tackle. You can either supplement him with Danny Isidora, or you can move Brett Jones over to right guard, or you can make a double move here and you can put Isidora in at right guard for Remmers, move him out to tackle. And then we know Compton isn't very good. We've seen that in the past here now. And if Compton's depth, you kind of like Compton. So you might want to move Brett Jones over to left guard and maybe put in Isidora at right guard, or potentially see what Brian Witzman's got that we signed a few weeks ago, because Witzman did start 13 games for a Kansas City Chief roster last year, one that saw Kareem Hunt lead the league in rushing. So perhaps, and speaking of rushing, we need more than 13 attempts, Flip. We need more than 13, because with this line, even if I understand it might not work all the time, it might be frustrating, and we might be more efficient at passing the football. But if you don't run the ball, then you let them kind of just tee off on Kirk Cousins. With our offensive line, is guaranteed to get them at least 4 to 6 sacks a game. Guaranteed. Because I think the Rams only had 4 sacks coming into this game. They doubled it tonight against this line. And it's concerning that they don't really try to run the ball. We've seen this past 2 or 3 weeks now. And you can't have that. Like I said, 13 carries. That's bad, because Kirk Cousins' best asset is his play-action passing. What happens when you can't do that? You become more stagnant, it's more predictable, it's more one-dimensional, and it's bad all around. So yeah, and that being said, even if you're not running the ball, Dalvin Cook didn't have a single target in the pass game tonight. And I understand he's coming off a hamstring a little bit. Maybe they wanted to limit him. But I would have been okay with Murray carrying the load and the handoffs and just saying, okay, Cook, you are a primary receiver. Because, I mean, we came into this game with Mark Barron being out, their best cover linebacker. No Dalvin Cook in the pass game. We've seen him line out wide and in the slot before this game, but not this game. I wonder if the hamstring had to do with that. It probably did. But still, you have to address the fact that you could have used that matchup a lot more. And transitioning to the defense, we're still missing tackles. We're still allowing big plays. And this brings me to this question that I know some people may not like, which is, do we let George Edwards try his hand at play calling just because something needs to change? I don't know what that is, obviously, but they've been kind of mulling over this for the past 2 years, year and a half-ish, about should Zimmer let George Edwards call plays. And it looks like something has been figured out on this defense, which is concerning because it's, that's how we won games the past few years. And that's why I'm asking this, is because this looks nothing like the defense we've seen in the past, which is they look like a team that belongs in like the Big 12 out there right now, and that's not good in the NFL. So it's just nothing close. So something needs to change. I don't know what that is. I don't know if the play calling became more predictable, if they've just figured out how it works, or what, like if something was figured out in those playoff games. So maybe George Edwards calling plays isn't a bad idea, and I don't, it's getting up to a point where you need to be concerned about this defense. And even though we saw it be ranked number 1 last year, it certainly won't be ranked number 1 this year. And it's just real concerning to see it fall like this, because that was the whole point of going out like, no, we can afford Kirk Cousins because we have this defense. Even if the line isn't the best, we have Diggs and Thielen, and now we have Kirk Cousins. We'll be able to make these big plays. We can get up to maybe anywhere between 24 and 30 points a game, and we can keep them kind of at 20 and below. So far, we've held one team below 20 points, and that was week 1 against the Niners when they got 16. They have since let up 29, 27, now 38. So it's becoming a major problem. They need to fix something. I don't know if it's schematically related, if it's just these newer rules that they put in that are making it kind of like with these tackles at least, maybe like people don't know how exactly to tackle with the new helmet rule or what, but I just know if this kind of stuff continues, it's shaping up to be kind of an 8-9 win season at max. And that is a very concerning thing for how talented this team is. Because I think the talent is undeniable. It's just more of what's going on that side of the ball. We need to be able to run the ball, which might be affecting the defense. Because since we're always passing, we're getting big plays and basically 3 and outs. That's pretty much all we're guaranteed to get. Well, and turnovers, potentially. But, which gasses a defense pretty quickly if they're always on the field. So, even though tonight we had more time of possession. But, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But, yeah. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And until next time, I bid you guys adieu.